Will someone tattletale on the other? Well, not to put too fine a point on it, the South Australian police have identified one suspect, and yet two people have lawyered up. Why two?
I got nightmares in my head, I fear thoughts build up until I can't breathe. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear thoughts build up.
Have a look at this headline from The Guardian. Gus Lamont's grandmother's devastated after police declare his disappearance a major crime. Pair release statement. Grandmothers, why not just one? And will one turn tattletale and snitch on the other? According to The Guardian, South Australia police declared Gus's disappearance a major crime last week Thursday and said that the suspect, do you see that, singular, was someone, again singular, who lived at the station. But the lawyers have confirmed they are acting for his two grandmothers, for both grandmothers, for two people. This is kind of an anomaly, and it does raise an interesting question. If the suspect is one of the grandmothers, I mean, who else lived with Gus at the station, right? Then which one is it? Which one are we talking about? And if it is the one grandmother, why is the other grandmother sort of going along for the ride? Now, on paper, doesn't it make sense that the grandmother who saw Gus last, who was with Gus and supposedly looking after him, or should have been looking after him, shouldn't that person who saw him last be a natural suspect, especially if her statements have become inconsistent and filled with discrepancies? Well, that's a big if it is her statements. Now, back to the article from The Guardian. Andrew I of Mangan I and Associates is acting for one grandmother, Josie Murray. Casey Isaacs of Caldecott and Isaac Lawyers is acting for the other, Shannon Murray. On Friday, the lawyers released a joint statement. So they both basically acceding to the statement, saying that their clients would not be doing any interviews or making any comments except for the following. We are absolutely devastated by the media release from the South Australian police in terms of this major crime. The family has cooperated fully with the investigation and want nothing more than to find Gus and reunite him with his mum and dad. And I think the police think that that might not be accurate. Perhaps the police believe that they want nothing more than for Gus not to be found. But the truth is they have cooperated fully, and the cops just don't seem to be satisfied with their cooperation. And, well, the lawyering up doesn't seem to be about cooperating anymore now, does it? It seems to be not about cooperating, but protection. But let's address the original question. Are we likely to see one person turning on another in this situation? I think the answer is no. It hasn't happened in 4 months, and if there was a time to do it, well, it was either right in the beginning or now that this has been declared a major crime. So in 4 months, there's been a solidarity that I don't think we can expect to change. We've also seen other cases involving couples where we wondered whether one knew more than the other, or even that one was more culpable than the other, and if someone was going to throw someone else under the bus. In the Ramsey case, did that ever happen? In the McCann case, the Portuguese press speculated about a pact of silence, one that involved, according to their theory, up to about half a dozen people. I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is true, that pact is still holding up today. So how likely are we to see a snitch situation developing here, perhaps even going on to additional family members or friends? Not very likely. That may be because a very limited number of people know what actually happened here. But just how limited is the number? What is that number? Is it just one? Is it two? Is it three? Or even more? I don't think the next break in this case is actually going to come from anyone suffering from a guilty conscience. Do you? I also don't think it's going to come from Gus miraculously wandering back from the outback, from some kind of outback walkabout. I suspect it's going to come from finding human remains. The question is, will investigators be able to locate human remains, 4 months later and counting? In the Morphew case in Colorado, I've actually been there. Human remains were found in an open field. I've actually stood right by that field, in that field. And they were found in an open field because they were disturbed by wild animals more than 3 years later. So anything is possible. Unfortunately, there are also some cases where human remains just aren't found, such as the Jack and Lily Sullivan case in Canada. Those children have vanished since May last year, so we're already approaching the year anniversary in that case. Summer Wells, she went missing since June 2021. That's 4 going on to 5 years. That was in Tennessee. Then you probably know about this one, William Tyrrell in New South Wales, 15 years ago this year. And of course, Madeleine McCann, missing for almost 19 years. It's nevertheless very difficult to believe that in the modern age, with so many resources at our disposal, such incredible technology at our fingertips, that it would actually be possible to successfully hide the remains of a 4-year-old child, if that is what happened. If that is what happened, then there may well be an intentional aspect to this case, and there will be legal hell to pay if that comes to light. And that will come to light if Gus's remains are found. And I think about also what we're talking about here. The government has spent a fortune looking for Gus already. Surely someone is accountable for that. Now, I'm not going to take it further than that, except I do want to highlight a comment or two that I read dealing with the last video. Just listen to this. The narrator is so clueless. An advisory speed sign does not constitute a speed limit. Yellow and black signs are not limits, only red and black. A private residence is not subject to speed limits. Also, a private residence with no staff is not subject to blah, 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 meaning you can dig a hole, and so he goes on. Someone else says he's not Australian, let alone a country-born Aussie. Now, when I last looked, you have this sort of thing right around the world. Meaning if you drive a car, surely you've got to obey speed limits. Now, it's quite an interesting question. Does that apply on private property? And there is actually a sign, a yellow sign showing little children and a speed limit there. And that's not really the issue. The issue is what could have happened to Gus that was an accident, and why would the person want to cover it up? So if your argument is someone rode over Gus and so they're not liable, I'd love to know how that would play out in court, regardless if there's a speed limit or not. Now, what is really interesting is this yellow sign that you can see in this particular video clip. Is that a brand new sign? Has that sign been put up recently? And if so, by whom? And if so, why? Certainly food for thought. Incidentally, the person who made that comment about being clueless won't be able to make another comment on this channel in future. So if you want to make a nasty comment, really let rip and make sure you say what you want to say, because you're not going to get another chance.